What are you doing? What, mate? What am I supposed to do with this information? Miko, this isn't how you win a battle. You can't just roll over a person's deck and say you won. They might end up giving you belly rubs. I mean, it's true, but. The Eye of Judgement is a 2007 augmented reality card game made by Japan Studios and published by Sony as a PlayStation 3 exclusive. What have Japan Studio made before? Everything, it seems. Wait a minute. Oh, that's what that is. Do you remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh! As a child, seeing their cards come to life in front of them and think, wow, that's so cool, I wish I could do that. Also, what's the deal with this guy's hair? Is it like a wig? Or is that like a cardboard placemat that he spray painted? I just don't get what's going on there. That is the Eye of Judgement, trading cards that come to life through the power of anime and the PlayStationized cinematic 480p resolution feed. The only difference being that instead of seeing blue eyes white dragons come to life, you get permanently crippled little egg people who live in boxes. Ironically enough, even though most people playing PlayStation today have probably never heard of this game, I'd say there's a good chance that if you've got a PlayStation Network account, you'll recognise these characters. Since The Eye of Judgement was a PS3 launch window game, PSN was still brand new and Sony were already lagging behind in the greasy little teenage call centre explosion that was Xbox Live.
What do you think about that?
As such, all those seemingly random character mascots you saw in the avatar section of your shiny new PlayStation Network account were in fact characters from Eye of Judgement. Classic characters like Robot Helmet Man, Injured Egg Baby, and Your Mum. As I'll discuss, The Eye of Judgement is a very novel, interesting, and a sometimes fun card game. It managed to get a few additional card sets released over a 2-year post-launch period, and even a PSP spin-off, because fundamentally Eye of Judgement can be quite exciting, but also very confusing. I'm very happy to be corrected by the Eye of Judgement elites in the comments, but after a dozen or so hours against every difficulty the game has to play against, winning or losing feels more like luck than anything earned by my own immense latent gamer skill. This game is fucking nonsense. The idea of a game that brings cards to life on your TV is still so cool to me that I've had the original box for this sitting under my TV for 14 years. And by a small lapse in impulse control I had when I was 13, when you could still buy Eye of Judgement booster packs in retail stores, I had 2 little constructed decks sitting mint condition in this cute little plastic kid safe that I've had since I was 10 years old. So I know I'm bad at procrastinating, but 14 years later, let's see what this is all about, and let's find out... What the fuck this guy's? What's this guy's deal? So Jordan, monsters come to life in your TV. That's pretty cool, but what am I looking at? There's squares, monsters look like they're chilling out on a DDR pad, there's numbers, was this anime mahjong? Okay, so the objective of the Eye of Judgement is to spend your resource, mana, to cast creatures and have them take actions. There are 9 squares on the board and each creature you can play takes up 1. Once they're on the board they can attack each other. Different types of creatures can only attack in specific direction. It's fine though, don't worry about it, don't worry yourself, you know, yeah, you look good today. So you might think, okay, that's simple enough, so how do I win? Do I win by having my creatures beat my opponent creatures, or by hitting some sort of life total they have? That is kind of sensible and well thought out, but no. It took me a wee while to figure it out, but you win by having 5 creatures on the board at the same time. Yeah, that's it. They can be the shittiest little creatures in the game, but if you have 5 of them, you win. I was so relentlessly confused the first time I lost a game, because I had no idea what happened. The opponent just ended their round, and then the game said,
Player loses.
And I was like, I don't know, did I? I mean, I'm the one playing this game, so maybe I did lose. As a 13-year-old, I remember I was not once able to beat a single round of this game on the easiest difficulty. Before I dusted this box off, I thought, well, you know, I was a stupid kid. I didn't know what I was doing. No, as it turns out, I still couldn't beat it as a 25-year-old man either. It took me 12 matches for me to finally get a win, and I had no idea how I did it at first. I think I couldn't figure it out because I think the game kinda sucks. I think. Or it could be me that sucks. Tell me what you think in the... No, don't. Fuck you. Don't. Seriously, if there are any Eye of Judgement 2007 Pro Tour winners in the comments, please let me know if I'm wrong, and what you've been doing with your life since you peaked. But there seems to be no clear strategy on how to actually win this game. Okay, I apologise in advance because I need to talk nitty gritty, so this may get a little bit dry. So at the start of each round you get 2 mana. You can only put out 1 creature per turn, so you better get to it right. You put out a creature, then your opponent will probably do the same thing on his turn, but you don't want your opponent to play creatures right, so you should probably use your creatures to kill theirs. Well, yeah, that makes sense, except that telling your creature to do anything also costs mana. And when the game starts, each player is probably going to put creatures down on tiles they synergise with. Oh yeah, there's different tiles, grass, earth, fucking bogies, who cares? All you need to know is that if you put a fire guy on a fire tile, he'll get a boost. So as the match starts, creatures will be on their strongest tiles, giving them a health boost, meaning they'll have maybe 4 or 5 health, but they all still do 1 damage to one another and they cost 1 mana each time to attack. So to get rid of an opponent's creature that cost them 2 mana to put out, you need to spend 2 mana on your own creature and then another 3 or 4 to get them to attack it until it's dead. So you're never going to do that because that's a waste of your resources. This is where some strategy starts. When you initially put out a creature, they're able to attack for free. So maybe I can kill their creatures by putting out my own. I should do that, right? You get 1 and they lose 1. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But when a creature dies, its owner gets mana back for it. So to win, you need to have 5 guys. I mean, I can't make a video on an empty stomach if it... Ding! You need 5 guys on the board, you need mana to put out creatures, so you want to kill your opponent's creatures to stop them from winning, but killing them costs you mana and gives them mana back, which lets them cast bigger creatures. So how the fuck are you supposed to play this game? What's the strategy? I don't get it. I feel like I'm in a riddle, man. It's like a man, a fox and a turtle are trying to cross a river. But the turtle only has 2 mana, and the fox is a fire type. So not only is the win condition for this game really arbitrary, get 5 guys on the field, okay, but all aspects of the game discourage you from playing it. Do you kill the enemy's creatures? Yes. Do you put out your own creatures? Yes. But they get rewarded when their shit dies, so maybe I shouldn't attack them? Yes. So how am I supposed to play the game properly? Yes. And so I went googling, and I can sure find a lot of people who remember the game fondly, but I can't find any advice on how to actually play it well. Wait. I can find guides, like trophy guides, on how to beat particular battles, but not a general like, hey, here's how to play the game well. And here's where I realised that I don't think there is a strategy. I found an FAQ. I thought, this is it. I'm finally going to learn what I'm doing wrong. I scrolled down to the part of FAQ that says strategy, and I fucking knew it! Nobody knows! This weird cycle of killing, getting mana back, losing mana, means that the game eventually boils down to luck. Every win I've managed to get so far feels like the most hollow victory possible. You play 25 plus minutes, you both bounce back and forth between being in check, that is, you're 1 turn away from winning, until the next turn where your opponent plays a creature that kills one of yours, and then repeat that turn after turn until eventually someone just draws shit cards and someone loses. There is some strategy to the game turn by turn, you can make good decisions or bad decisions, but being able to win boils down to the luck of your cards against theirs. Like, for example, there's 5 difficulties for the AI in the game. I started, of course, on beginner, kind of got the idea that I shouldn't attack on every turn I can, got a win, and then moved up to normal. On normal, all I noticed is that the opponent will spend mana on their creatures to attack, and on any of the difficulties higher than normal I didn't notice any changes at all. And not once did I ever see the opponent spend mana to rotate their creatures. Yeah, that's the thing you can do. The structure of the game systems just don't make any sense. Maybe if attacking and rotating were free actions, they could only be performed once per turn, it'd be more fun. But when the win condition is to have 5 creatures, no matter how shitty they may be, why would I spend 4 mana on rotating a high powered monster when I could do anything else with it? Not even attack, just rotate them. Excuse me, mate, I'm sorry, do you mind turning around for me? I don't know, man, I mean this is a pretty nice wall I'm looking at right here, I'm not sure I want to move. I'll give you 3 mana. Now you're talking my language, here we go. Now this is a wall. One thing that adds to the frustration of winning or losing a game is just how long the matches are. They are bare minimum 20 minutes, on average about 25, and this is after I turned off the battle animations. Admittedly though, amongst all the luck, it is somehow fun. I can see why there are so many people online who remember it fondly. Forgetting about the final turns where you're trying to win or lose, the childlike fantasy of these shitty little cards coming to life on your TV and then bashing one another is still neat in 2021. I don't know why Sony or any other developer hasn't tried this again with the infinitely better small camera technologies we have nowadays. Oh yeah, the camera. One distinct memory I had playing this game as a 12-year-old is how crappy the camera is at detecting cards. But worry not, I thought to myself, you have a whole bunch of studio lights nowadays. You have the most successful YouTube channel in this entire room. Wait a minute. Markiplier? Yeah, you'll be fine. Not really. The PlayStation Eye is so bad at picking up the cards if your lighting is not absolutely flat and perfect across the little napkin playmat that comes with the game, that you will have to get used to the game screaming, please place your card in front of the camera. Please place your card in front of the camera. Hey man, why is the card not in front of the camera? Even with these insanely bright lights, it's really hit and miss. I mean, look at this setup I had to make. I feel like a crime scene investigator showing up to a murder at Comic-Con. The game doesn't have one. Wait. The game doesn't, but the little manuals that came with the pre-constructed decks do. They have little bits of lore and story that you can enjoy before you play the game. Let's have a look. This is the Wood Swarm Summoner's Companion. Let's have a wee listen right now. Every elven child knows that it was in the year 793. There are two things that stick out to me about the presentation of this game. One, it's so stupidly over the top, it's great. The music is ridiculously heavy for a game as goofy looking as this, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a card game and it sounds like Pantera did the soundtrack. I also really like how weird the announcer sounds, specifically the way he says draw cards. It's like he was midway through a spoonful of custard when they asked him to say the line.
Draw card.
Excuse me, Pete. The line, please.
Draw card.
The other side of the presentation is how much of a mess it is from a user perspective. Trying to find out really fundamental things during a match, like what a player's card does, is not nearly as simple as you'd expect. To figure out what a monster on the field does, you need to pause the game, go into a status menu, find this absolute mess of a spreadsheet and figure out what it does from there. Why? There's so many buttons on the controller and surely the most common thing you want to do is find out what a card does. Why wouldn't you just map it to the X button? That's why I actually quite like the look of the PSP game. Everything seems to be just laid out in front of you quite intuitively. And speaking of which, I mentioned it took me ages to figure out how to actually win the game. You're probably thinking, holy shit Jordan, how hard could it possibly be to figure out how to win the game? Well, as I mentioned, the game is not good at explaining itself, but holy shit does it like to try. There are 3 tutorial vids in the help section, which add up to a total of nearly 1 full hour of continuous video tutorials. Yes, 1 hour, and believe it or not, in this full hour, not once is it mentioned what the actual objective of the game is. Surely that'd be kind of high on the list. It's perhaps the most bored I've ever been in a long time. Thankfully my cat tried to play some of the game and that was entertaining. I know, the Eye of Stop it! The Eye of Judgement is so cool, isn't it? I think they did this because it was the start of the generation, developers were excited about how much data you could fit on a Blu-ray, and so they just crammed it with as many shitty FMVs as they could until they ran out of space. Whoopsie daisies, how'd that get there? The battle animations are nice, they fulfill the hole inside of me that always wanted, that was a gross sentence, that always wanted to see cards come to life and battle each other just like Yu-Gi-Oh! But also like Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes really simple things drag on for way too long. And with how long these matches are already, turning off the battle animations doesn't really feel like I'm losing too much. I'm quite a fan of the design of the monsters as well. They all look pretty goofy, and when they're all crammed together on the board at once, it kind of looks like the job centre just opened up around the corner and all the monsters are queuing up to claim benefits. Excuse me, mama, you got any spare mana? Please, I just want to rotate. Yeah, just want to rotate away from the life I've made for myself. Come on, please, I've got an injured egg baby and a frog wife to feed. But when you get a theme together, it feels pretty cool. One of my constructed decks is all based around the Bioliths, the big mechanical monster guys, and having creatures that all look like they go to the same hairdresser feels like you've got something with a lot of thought behind it. After getting some playtime with these, I did some googling and found that fans had made quite a comprehensive catalogue of all the cards that released for the game, and they actually look pretty brilliant. The Biolith deck was easily the most fun I had, and there's dozens and dozens of really powerful cards out there that I'd never heard of before. But it's 2021 now, you can't find those cards anymore, and even the most generic underpowered cards are quite overpriced on eBay. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you have a time machine, or for some reason have really good cards from the 14-year-old augmented reality PlayStation 3 game Eye of Judgment, then you might have a good time playing the game. I'm sorry kids, but the Eye of Judgment, much like your silly granddad who tried to cure his skin cancer with herbal medicine, is dead for a reason. Well, pretty cool in a whoa dude, sweet graphics kind of way.
I've got to get this in my house. How do you do it?
All about broadband, my man.
It is fundamentally, I think, not a very well designed game. Even with 14 years in its existence, I can't find a single resource on the internet, yes the greatest collection of all knowledge ever experienced by man, on how to actually play the game well. But as a novel way of seeing walking tanks beat up little frog people, ain't a half bad time. And it still has enough innate novelty that I'm very surprised another game developer hasn't tried something like this since. I mean, this was the whole pull of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show, and it seems like a bit of a waste that there isn't an app to do this to your Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards nowadays. Okay, well, I guess technically it does exist, but it looks like dog shit, so, yeah. The jury's still out. So if you find this in a CEX somewhere on the cheap and you like obscure games as much as I do, then I'd wager it's worth a try. But if you're a reasonable person who values their own money and time, then maybe just give that money to me. Give the money to me instead, please. Thank you.
The Eye of Judgment.
And that was the Eye of Judgment, everybody. A fun experiment, but not exactly something I'll be going back to. I want to apologise, it's been a long time since my last video. I try to usually make one every month or so, but let me tell you, those police they've been knocking on my door. No, it's been a busy wee month. I have got myself a big boy job, so I'm trying to schedule better, see if I can get time to make videos in between then. I have actually started a Twitch channel, so my most recent gameplay video, Plague Tale, this is great practice for shooting the poor, was actually an edit of a stream. So you can follow me at Jumbo Jenkins on Twitch if you want to hang out every now and again. That'd be fun. It's a good amount of fun, and not gonna lie, fucking way easier than making these videos. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, show your pals. If you didn't, go fuck yourself, I guess. And hopefully, I will see you next time.